Your book raises many questions about an administration that is incapable of telling the truth and, in your words, avoids accountability. I want to focus on how and why Scooter Libby came to reveal the identity of covert CIA agent Valerie Plame Wilson. From everything we know about this administration, it is inconceivable that Mr. Libby would have acted alone. It is essential we learn who ordered or gave permission to Mr. Libby to expose the identity of this covert agent. The President and Vice President have denied ordering this illegal leak, but logic and the chain of command dictates that it must have been one of them. Mr. McClellan, in your book, you state that you cannot believe President Bush authorized the leak of Valerie Plame Wilson's status as a covert agent. It is unimaginable to you that the President, one of only two people with the authority to give Libby the go-ahead to make this leak, actually did it. So who does that leave us? The Vice President. You do not defend Mr. Cheney in your book. In fact, the lack of faith you express in the Vice President in your book is striking. Why?
Well, he is someone that keeps things pretty close to the vest, to say the least. I do not know what his thinking is or what his involvement was in this whole episode. I think that Patrick Fitzgerald stated it well when he talked about the cloud that was remaining over the Vice President's office because of Scooter Libby's actions that led to his conviction on 4 counts, I guess. But there's a lot of suspicion there because there are questions that have never been answered, despite the fact that we said at some point we would address these issues.
So this suspicion leads you to believe that Vice President Cheney could have authorized Mr. Libby's leak?
I can't rule it out, and I think that Scooter Libby, in his some testimony that was released, talked about it's possible that he could have first learned about her from, or that the Vice President could have even asked him to get that information out.
Well, thank you for your candor, Mr. McClellan, and your suspicion or the doubts that you raise fit in very nicely to what it is we do know. We do know Mr. Cheney has been deeply involved in the efforts to cover up the leak and exonerate Mr. Libby. We know Mr. Cheney called you to have you unknowingly lie to the American people about Libby's involvement. We know that the Vice President wrote a note where he starts to write and then crosses out the fact that the President himself asked Libby to stick his neck into a meat grinder to protect the administration. It's clear to me that Mr. Cheney's the only one left, the only likely suspect to have ordered the leak. If Mr. Cheney really thought Libby was innocent, then his note would have likely said something like, "We need to protect this man who's done nothing wrong." But that's not what Mr. Cheney's note said. The Vice President's own hand betrays him and Libby and implicates the President of the United States. These facts in your testimony, Mr. McClellan, are more than enough, in my view, to open up impeachment hearings. Furthermore, the President's use of the pardon power to deflect an investigation into his own wrongdoing by granting a commutation to the man who may have lied for him would constitute an abuse and crime of the highest order. And we must determine on this committee conclusively whether or not this happened. Thank you, Mr. McClellan, for exposing some of the lies that were propagated by this White House. But unfortunately, as you have said, I believe as well, others in this White House have been blocking access to the truth. It's time we sweep away the bogus claims of executive privilege and get Karl Rove, Andy Card, and others before this Judiciary Committee. We have the power of inherent contempt, and if need be, we should use it. Mr. McClellan, what you have provided today for the American people is enormously important. You are the first high official in this administration to come before this Congress and offer us a glimpse into the truth. I commend you for being here today.
Thank you, Congressman. I do believe it's important for the American people to have the truth.
Thank you. I now turn to the gentleman from Virginia, former chairman of the Agriculture Committee,